Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying distance learning. Before starting the lecture, I would request you all to please keep your notebooks and pens ready and be attentive during the lecture, because I will ask few questions during the lecture that you have to answer at the end of lecture. Only those students will be marked present who submit their answer in WhatsApp group on time. So let's start the lecture. Today we will discuss about antagonist, different types of antagonist and inverse agonist. Learning objectives of today's lecture are: at the end of lecture you should know about antagonist, what is antagonist. You should know about different types of antagonist and their example. You should know what is inverse agonist and what is example. Before learning about antagonist, I want you all to briefly revise with me the concept of receptors on which different agonist or antagonist actually act. So, as you all know, receptors are protein molecules present on the surface of cell. These receptors, they are usually protein. They may be enzymes, they may be membrane proteins like glycoproteins, lipoproteins, they may be nucleic acid, complex polysaccharides, and receptors are responsible for biological activities. When any signaling molecules like ligand bind to these receptors, they produce some conformational changes in the receptors. These changes either turn on or turn off the receptor, which is responsible for progression or suppression of any biological process. Antagonists interact with the receptor but do not cause any conformational change in the receptor and do not allow the receptor to activate. Antagonists alone do not show their effect, they only act when their agonist is present. They have affinity but no intrinsic activity. They block the action of other drugs, for example other agonists. They may bind on the same receptor where agonists bind, or they can also bind on separate receptor site to show opposite action. Types of antagonist. There are different types of antagonist: pharmacological antagonist, physiological antagonist, and chemical antagonist. This diagram explains a competitive antagonism very nicely. So here is the agonist, this is antagonist, and this is the receptor site for the attachment of agonist or antagonist. What will happen in competitive antagonism? In competitive antagonism, both agonist and antagonist compete for the same receptor site. Whose concentration will be more will occupy that receptor site. If the concentration of antagonist is more, the antagonist will get attached with that receptor site, block the access of agonist for that receptor site, and do not allow the receptor to get activated. But in competitive antagonism, if we increase the concentration of agonist, then let's start with the pharmacological antagonism. In pharmacological antagonism, the antagonist is present at the receptor site. It blocks the access of agonist to the same receptor and bind with that receptor. There are two types of pharmacological antagonism. One is competitive or reversible antagonist, and the other is non-competitive or irreversible antagonist. Competitive antagonism. In competitive antagonism, at the receptor site there is competition between the agonist and antagonist to bind with the receptor. If antagonist bind with the receptor, it do not allow agonist to bind with that receptor. So now antagonist stabilize the receptor in inactive state and do not allow to perform biological processes. So in the presence of a fixed concentration of agonist, increasing concentration of competitive and reversible antagonists progressively inhibit the agonist response. But if we increase the concentration of agonist, the agonist can surmount the effect of a given concentration of antagonist. It means if we increase the concentration of agonist, we can again achieve the desired effect. The example of competitive antagonism is trazodone, which is an antihypertensive drug. It competes with norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is a biological ligand. So trazodone compete with norepinephrine for the same receptor site. They compete for alpha adrenergic receptors, but their binding to the receptor depends on law of mass action, which means that whose concentration will be more at the receptor site, they will get more probability to get attached or occupy the receptor site. Because the antagonism is competitive, so in the presence of antagonist, basically the antagonist increases the required concentration of agonist to show its response or to show its effect. The agonist concentration effect curve is that's why shifted parallelly towards right. The examples of competitive or reversible antagonism are beta blockers and antimuscarinics. This is agonist dose response curve in the presence of competitive and non-competitive antagonism. So in the diagram A, you can see this curve shows the effect of agonist alone, and here you can see due to the effect of antagonist, this curve has been shifted parallelly towards right. But here you can see that the same response has been achieved. How this will happen? As you all know, I have already discussed that in competitive antagonism, if we increase the concentration of agonist, then we can again achieve the same effect. Here both the curves are same, but the only difference is that due to the presence of antagonist, the curve is shifted parallelly towards right. But because we have increased the concentration of agonist, so the same effect will be produced. While in diagram B, this curve shows the effect of agonist alone, but in the presence of antagonist, because here this is non-competitive, there is no competition between the agonist and antagonist, and this is irreversible because the antagonist binds with the allosteric site and do not allow the receptor to get activated, and agonist do not show its effect. So even if we increase the concentration of agonist, no desired effect can be achieved. So the non-competitive or irreversible antagonist. And the second type of pharmacological antagonism is non-competitive or irreversible antagonism. In non-competitive antagonism, there is no competition between agonist and antagonist at the receptor side for the binding. There are two mechanisms involved in this type of antagonism. The first mechanism is that the antagonist can bind covalently, very strongly, or with high efficacy at the receptor site. Due to this, agonist cannot bind with the receptor. The second mechanism is that the agonist get attached or bind with the receptor, but antagonist also bind with another site of the same receptor, and that site is called allosteric site. Due to the binding of the antagonist at the allosteric site, agonist cannot activate the receptor and do not show any biological action. Thereby, non-competitive antagonists prevent receptor activation without blocking agonist binding. Examples of non-competitive or irreversible pharmacological antagonism is phenoxybenzamine. Now understand the concept of, I hope you have understand the concept of competitive antagonism and non-competitive antagonism, and let's do a comparison between competitive and non-competitive antagonism. As you all know that in competitive antagonism, both agonist and antagonist compete for the same receptor site, while in non-competitive antagonism, the receptor site can be same or the antagonist can attach on the same receptor but at different site, that is called allosteric site. In competitive antagonism, if we increase the concentration of agonist, the agonist can again show its effects, but in non-competitive antagonism, this is irreversible. Even if we increase the concentration of agonist, the effect cannot be produced. Um, in competitive antagonism, antagonist reduces the potency, while in non-competitive antagonism, antagonist reduces the efficacy. In competitive antagonism, the dose response curve shifted towards right, while in non-competitive antagonism, the antagonist shift the dose response curve downwards, because even if we increase the concentration of agonist, the response cannot be produced. Before discussing physiological antagonists, I would request you all to please note down questions. You have to answer this question at the end of the lecture, and you will submit these answers in the WhatsApp group. Then I will mark your present. Question number 1. Define antagonist. Name different types of antagonist. Question number 2. Write comparison between competitive antagonism and non-competitive antagonism. Okay. Now the next antagonism is physiological antagonism. It is an antagonism produced by two drugs or endogenous compounds by binding to two different receptors. In this type of antagonism, two different drugs or two different endogenous compounds bind on two different receptors and produce their own effects that is opposite to each other. For example, many catabolic actions of glucocorticoid hormones leads to increased blood sugar level, while insulin bind on their receptors and produce physiological effect that is opposite to that of glucocorticoid hormones, that they decrease the level of blood sugar. Example number 2. Histamine bind to their receptors and produce bronchoconstriction, and adrenaline bind to their receptors and produce bronchodilation. This type of antagonism is called physiological antagonism, in which two different drugs or two different endogenous compounds bind on two different receptors and produce their effects that is opposite to each other. The third type of antagonism is chemical antagonism. This is also called receptor independent antagonism. It is an antagonism without the involvement of receptor. So in this type of antagonism, the antagonist do not bind with any receptor, rather bind with its agonist and bring changes in its chemical structure. Due to these chemical changes, agonist cannot bind with the receptor and do not show any biological response, or no biological effect is produced. Example of chemical antagonism is protamine sulfate, which is a positively charged ligand. The protamine sulfate bind with the heparin, that is negatively charged ligand. Binding of protamine sulfate with the heparin brings structural and sequential changes in the heparin. This shows chemical antagonism. The other example of chemical antagonism is antacids, that neutralizes the gastric acids. And the other example of chemical antagonism is dimercaprol, that is a lead chelating agent. So this is the last slide from today's lecture. Inverse agonist. As the name indicates, inverse means opposite. So inverse agonists are those agonists that produce action opposite to agonist. Examples of inverse agonists are beta carbolines. Beta carbolines are the inverse agonist of benzodiazepine receptors. Let me explain this example. Benzodiazepine binds with benzodiazepine receptors in the brain. Benzodiazepines enhances the action of GABA. I hope you all know what is GABA. GABA stands for gamma aminobutyric acid, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So when benzodiazepine enhances the inhibitory action of GABA, what will happen? There will be sedation, anxiolysis, and muscle relaxation. On the other hand, beta carbolines, they also bind with benzodiazepine receptor, but they suppresses the action of GABA, and beta carbolines produces effects opposite to that of benzodiazepine. They cause stimulation, anxiety, and increase muscle. Thank you very much. I hope you get valuable information regarding antagonist and inverse agonist. Please note down last question from today's lecture. Give one example of physiological antagonist and write one example of chemical antagonist. Thank you very much.